you've got a good life. Why would you want to run for mayor?
Well, that's exactly why I want to run for mayor. There's three reasons. I mean, one, I think the economy is going to be uncertain the next couple of years. You have a state with a $3 billion budget deficit, and you need somebody in the mayor's office that understands how to contain the cost of government. Not to mention, I was in Juneau. I was served in the legislature 15 years ago when they were going through the same thing, when oil was $10 a barrel and we had a $1 billion budget deficit. And back then, we spent a lot of time looking at solutions. We also spent a lot of time talking about where to cut the budget. And so as the next mayor, I know exactly what those conversations are. Therefore, I know how to plan and how to contain costs. The second thing is, I really want to make the community healthier and safer. My last couple of years as the president of the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce, we've really had an issue with downtown public safety. Certainly the crime rate, the chronic inebriate problem, the homelessness problem. We really have to start to take a long view at these problems. From a management standpoint, we like to nibble around the edges, or we like to adopt what we think are going to be these silver bullet programs. And we just need to realize that it's got to be a comprehensive approach. With public safety, you have to put more officers on the street. We're 50 officers short than what we were 4 years ago. They've decimated the gang task force, they've decimated the sexual assault task force because they want more officers in patrol corps. And that has really hurt our ability to go out and be proactive, addressing the gang issue and some of these criminal issues that are now percolating to the top. The community does need to get healthier. The chronic inebriate problem, the homelessness problem needs to finally be addressed. We need to look at expanding things like the Housing First model that works. Carlick Manor works. Not only does it get people off the street and make them safer, but it also reduces public safety calls to that area. The police will tell you that it's been a success. And the third thing is really just continuing to grow the economy and manage the cost of government, but growing the economy in the sense where we get in and we start doing things we should have been doing a long time ago. I think some of the greatest areas in this town are the most underdeveloped and undervalued. I'd like to see a huge redevelopment downtown in East Anchorage. I'd like to see us go into Fairview and clean up the area and provide just a really cool little part of town for people to live in. The demographics are changing. You have 82,000 millennials that live and work in this city. They have different needs than I do or you do. I mean, it's a different generation. They want to live downtown. They want to live next to the bars and restaurants. They want to have easy access to downtown. And in order to attract that kind of investment, you have to address the public safety concerns, and you have to address the chronic inebriation and the homelessness problem, because no developer is going to go down there and build and redevelop unless the area is ripe for development. So really those things are why I'm running. My last 2 years at the Anchorage Chamber, we've done some groundbreaking work. Our education initiatives to strengthen public schools. I am the chair of the 90% by 2020. I have been for 2 years, which seeks to strengthen public school outcomes by promoting 90% graduation and 90% attendance by 2020. I've also been very active in the community with diversity. Our One Anchorage, One Economy has brought in all types of diverse groups, sitting down, talking about how the business community, we can integrate them into the business community, talking about how we're all one Anchorage and we all live in the same economy and we go to the same schools and we all have aligned concerns and we all have the same goals. We all want a successful and happy and healthy city. So that's really why I'm running. I think I've lived here 50 years. I look at the community. It's been stagnant in some places that I think we need to move forward on. There are some intractable problems that we haven't addressed that we really need to address. But by and large, this city has been amazing to me. It's been amazing to the people I love, and I want to make it stronger for future generations.
You mentioned Fairview, and I talked to Coffee, and he also mentioned Fairview. A concern I have is whether development in Fairview means the people who live there now get their neighborhood cleaned up and they get to stay there, or are we talking about gentrification and we get rid of the poor people so that the wealthier people can move in?
No, in my view, redeveloping Fairview is keeping people in their homes that want to stay there, being more aggressive on the chronic inebriation and homeless problem, Here's a perfect example. Years ago, they went into Fairview, they created kind of these neat little parks and put all kinds of accessories. Then within a year or two, they had to yank them out because they had become gathering places for chronic inebriates and the homeless. I want to see a time where people who live in Fairview today and tomorrow have little pocket parks. I want to see a neighborhood that's safe to walk to the store at 11 o'clock at night. I want to finally look at 13th and Gamble and say, how do we clean this up? This has been a problem since I was 16 years old. So it's not about gentrification. It's really about getting in cleaning up the neighborhood. I want people to stay there. I don't want anybody to have to move out of their neighborhoods. But I want to use the city's leverage using tax incentives or tax deferral credits to really get in and make the area safer and make it more of a great little community. I mean, they really have a good community council over there. The Fairview Community Council, the Fairview Business Association, those guys have done an amazing job. And what they need a little more help from City Hall. They have the new overlay, they have the new development plan, but they need more, and they need leadership from City Hall. Because when I look at the city, there's three areas. There's East Downtown, there's Fairview, and there's Mountain View. I think those three areas hold the greatest promise because they're three of the oldest areas of town that are really ripe for people who want to live in cool little neighborhoods.
Okay, let me ask another question. There's $20 million sitting out there to build a road through the university campus.
Right.
All the community councils around there have protested and don't want that road. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I haven't really studied the UMed Road project up close, but I will tell you that the area is growing, and we need to have better access in and out. Whether that means adopting the current road plan, I couldn't say now. But what I do know is you have a growing university, you've got a hospital that's grown leaps and bounds. If there's ways we can improve access without cutting the road through the community council areas, then we should do that. But there's no question that area needs better transportation access. The road system into the UMed district really hasn't changed since I was a kid. I mean, the access off of Northern Lights to 36 and then to Providence Drive. I mean, none of the roads in that area have matured. So, maybe the approach is instead of doing the road through the university, maybe looking at approach roads that lead people into the district. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. I mean, as a former community council president, I'm very sensitive to the wishes of community councils. They work hard. They get their people out every month. They have a vested interest in their community. We went through the same thing in Sand Lake 20 years ago when they wanted to build homes in the gravel pits. And so I understand the frustration, and it does require some collaboration. I mean, you just can't show up and say, we're going to put a road through your neighborhood. At the same time, you can't show up and say, we're not going to have progress, because that area is going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to be served by underdeveloped roads.
Okay. Any other critical issues that you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it.